What up, though? It's Terrell with Socialite, and we back again with another one. Episode 2 of Market Recap for 2023. Let's get right into it, man. Seeing as though it's MLK Day, I have to bring this to the forefront. Sometimes I feel like he might have hindered us more than he helped us. Implementing us into their society, it made all of the racism more covert. We don't see who the enemy is on a daily basis. We aren't getting those interactions to let us know where we stand in society and things like that. It's all just silent compliance. It would be a lot better if we still had the opportunity to be kind of ostracized and just focus on ourselves and build up our own communities like we did with Black Wall Street, Black Panther Party, and things like that, just to be able to take care of ourselves, because we've shown that we're going to be here regardless. We're going to be good. We're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to be that driving factor as far as the culture and everything that pushes culture forward. We're at the forefront of it. So it would have been nice for us to just chill in our little corner and build up our own thing like we was doing, but no, we got pushed right into essentially being immersed with everybody else. Now it's the illusion that we all have the same opportunities, even though we know that isn't the truth. Shout out to Black women. The data shows that Black women are most likely to become entrepreneurs during this time. They're 3.5 times more likely to start a business when compared to any other group within the United States. So shout out to Black women. Keep doing y'all thing. Black women are starting to leave corporations in order to chase their own ventures and make a living for themselves. The main contributing factors to this is discrimination within the workplace. Not only discrimination, Black women were the most likely to be fired during all the job cuts throughout the pandemic. So they're refocusing and trying to figure things out for themselves. But one of the pitfalls that hampers Black people when it comes to starting their own business is funding. Black people are the most denied when it comes to venture capital or angel investors and things of that nature. 3.5% of Black businesses that get started fail or perish within 3.5 years, compared to the national average of 55%. So that just goes to show that capital and funding is so important. And one of the things I always teach is that rich people, they fund their businesses and they make their money using other people's money. So it would be nice if we could do the same. Now that Black women are starting to do their own thing, companies are starting to become more worried, because Black women are the backbone of a lot of companies. They were underappreciated, and now that they're starting to leave these corporations and start their own, the companies are looking to hire more Black people, Black women specifically now. I'm even going through this myself when it comes to seeking venture capital or angel investors. I know somebody who I had a decent relationship with in college, who I thought we was close, you feel me? They was talking about investing in my business at the beginning. They ended up becoming an angel investor. And now every time I message this person in terms of just growing my business, I get ignored. I can't even get a hey now anymore. And it just goes to show that the funding just isn't there for Black people. Like, I have an actual business and I have an opportunity to scale it. I've shown that I can grow it. I can't even have an opportunity to show my financials and show my trajectory and show my plan into someone whose sole role is to be an angel investor. So just goes to show exactly what I was just discussing. It would be great if I could hire some employees and get some editors, some graphic designers, some social media people, all of that, so I can kind of take my hands off and focus on the big picture and growing this instead of being on the ground every day and having to wear every hat at the same time. It would be wonderful to have the opportunity to get that big lump sum of money to ensure that my company can scale and grow correctly. Stocks went up the past week after the inflation data came out and showed that inflation has been going down for 6 straight months by the numbers. And you can see it as far as like gas and things like that, but some simple groceries such as eggs have almost quadrupled in price over the past year. So we're still seeing some, standing effects when it comes to inflation, but by the numbers, by the Fed, they're saying that it's going down. Ladies, y'all love Lululemon. If you were hip, Lulu was a super stock throughout the pandemic. It seems as though their luck is running out, unfortunately. $135 leggings now going to like $70. They have about 85% more inventory than they had around this time last year. So Lululemon is slowing down, and that caused their stock to take a hit. Might be a good opportunity to buy the dip if you're a firm believer in them. When stuff was all good, Lululemon bought a company called Mirror, which is essentially like a workout routine regimen type of thing. They bought that when everything was good. Now they're saying that's one of the main reasons why their profits aren't up to par. So this just kind of reminds me of like people buying stuff when everything good, but it starts to backfire when the economy ain't doing the best. I thank God I didn't buy that new Corvette. I really wanted it when everything was busting, stocks was busting, crypto was busting, but I just sat back and kept adding to my stockpile. So speaking of things not being the best, Coinbase reportedly plans to fire about 20% of its workforce because of KYC laws, and they had to essentially spend $50 million on not following the KYC which is know your customer, which is basically regulation coming to crypto. You know, the government wants to know what people are signing up for Coinbase and who's using it and things like that. So this goes to show that tech, layoffs, crypto, all that is kind of intertwined, and they're letting these people go because of the regulation that's looming. Let's start with Apple. Apple is planning on releasing its own mixed reality headset. You might be thinking of like virtual reality, like what Facebook did, Meta, but they learned from Meta's mistakes, and instead of just making people fully immersed within the metaverse, Apple's gonna do things a little different. They're gonna do like an overlay. Overlay is essentially you still see the world as it is, but there's just additional information overlaid over what you already see. You might, walk past a person, recognize their face, reminds you of their name, and just says it above their head, or just something like that. They plan on rolling this out later on this year. Their main competitors when it comes to this new product, which is the first new product that they're shipping out since the Apple Watch. That's its own like new proprietary thing. But they're going against Meta, of course, and also PlayStation or Sony with their VR headset. So I'm curious to see where this is gonna end up, because a lot of companies have failed when it comes to this augmented reality, virtual reality type of thing. But Apple, they kind of like Drake, they never miss. So we gonna see what Apple do. If you've been following me on the ground, I've been talking a lot about ChatGPT and the $10 billion investment that Microsoft put into the company. After this was announced, they say over 1 million people signed up within the next 5 days to help test it, which is only gonna make it better at the end of the day. And Microsoft plans to take 75% of ChatGPT's profit until they get their initial investment back. And then after that, they're just gonna own 50% of the entire stake. Well, 49% to be exact. Speaking of Microsoft, they have a new technology that they just released that can mimic anyone's voice on the entire earth with just a 3-second audio clip of their voice. It's gonna be a lot of deep fakes in the upcoming years of people acting like specific people said things that they didn't really say, because now people are gonna have access to everyone's voice. Tesla is planning to spend an extraordinary amount to open a factory in Indonesia as well that's expected to pump out 1 million cars per year alone. Let's talk about NFTs. Last week I mentioned Donald Trump NFTs that sold out immediately and then collapsed. Well, Game of Thrones seems to be on a similar trend. If you haven't heard, Game of Thrones released some NFTs for about $150 each, and they sold out within 7 hours. So I'm curious to see how this is going to play out in the future, because as we know, NFTs are down about 97% over the past year, and it could be even worse because a lot of people were selling NFTs to themselves to make it seem as if there was more of a demand when there wasn't. Disney is attempting to make good after increasing their prices on their tickets and their ridiculously long lines by offering people extra incentives, such as if you're staying on a resort, you get free overnight parking, or if you have the park switch thing, you can do that at 11 a.m. instead of later on in the day. Pepsi is finally killing Sierra Mist. Nobody was drinking that anyway, but they're unveiling a new product to compete directly with Coke's Sprite. Be on the lookout for the new drink called Starry. It's going to compete directly with Sprite, which is produced by Coke. So it's a Pepsi versus Coke thing going on right now. Twitter is looking to sell the most popular handles for the highest bidders. After they get rid of all these inactive and bot accounts, they say that it's going to be around 1.5 billion available handles. Would you pay for the name you want, the blue verification checker, all that, or are you good on Twitter in general? But yeah, that's pretty much everything that happened within the past week within the financial markets. A lot of people are anticipating the earnings of banks in the upcoming weeks, such as like JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, BlackRock. All of those, they're going to produce their earnings, and we're going to see how inflation affected them and the health of their overall businesses. So be on the lookout for major swings within bank stocks this upcoming week. With that being said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, visit my website, book me, hit me up on Patreon, find a way to get in contact with me, and I'ma always be responsive back to you. Let me know in the comments everything you think. Have a good one. Have a great week. I'm out.